Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. This will be a twin flame check-in. And I know I say this every single time I do a twin flame check-in that I'm going to try and simplify these readings, and it never fails that they're incredibly complex and difficult to get through. But again, every time, this is trial and error. We are down to bare bones right now. I've only used 2 decks, and there's some really powerful core messages coming out, and I want to just let them breathe. Okay, let's drop in. So as always, we have the masculine on the left, the feminine on the right, and the union energies down the center. So we have been tracking the masculine cycle in regards to their connection to their intuition, right? As the masculines further integrate their inner feminine, their connection to source and intuition increases, thus increasing their discernment power. They have these divine masculine received the life purpose and trust card. I can't tell you, let's just take a moment to celebrate and honor how beautiful and sacred this is for divine masculines. If you are predominantly in your feminine energy, it is somewhat built into the energy a certain level of vulnerability. In that vulnerability, there is inherent trust. Masculine energy has not had that. They have not had that awareness of that trust or been able to trust throughout this whole journey. So let us just honor how difficult it must have been, or it is, for any masculine energy that doesn't have that connection to intuition, that cannot surrender, that cannot trust. To be honest, it sounds exhausting. If I had to attempt to micromanage and control every facet of every little piece of my life, I would burn out. So let's honor anyone who has been experiencing extreme fatigue, extreme exhaustion, have not been able to take care of themselves properly because they have been trying to have so much control. There's something here that the masculines are finally receiving this mirroring from source. You know, it's really interesting. By the way, I have a new magic wand today. It's actually a stirrer. That sounds weird. From a vintage martini set. And I cracked the pitcher, and I just love this. So I'm going to be using it. There we go. That's the backstory. What's so fascinating is most times when you see an image of the tree of life, you have all of this stunning growth and foliage on top, and usually the bottom are the roots. But instead, in this image, it is mirroring growth. So I'm just feeling this in my heart as a double whammy of expansion and growth and personal achievement. There's this exponential factor of this. You know, you don't just get to flourish and reach up to heaven and bloom and have these delightful green leaves. You get to also look down and inward, and even in your, basically, okay, let me say it this way. This is your heaven, and normally the roots reach down to hell. But even in your hell, masculines, you have this gorgeous blooming. You have this gorgeous, rich vitality, right? Anytime Mother Gaia is flourishing, there's a sense of vitality. And I'm going to say this because it's the masculine energy, but virility. There's something about potent fertility here, and which is interesting because it's also mirroring the masculine the feminine fertility. I'll get into that later. That's a whole nother message, but let's just take space to honor how far the masculines have come. Okay, to further solidify this inner knowing, we have this crack card, this walnut tree. It's interesting also, the masculine received 2 trees, right? There's something not only grounding and earthing, but there's something germinating, expanding, multiplying. Something profound is happening actively in the divine masculine soulmate cycle. This question, what do I know without knowing why or how? I mean, come on. This is a direct relation to masculines tapping into their intuition. They're starting to get it. Something is starting to click where they are trusting the impressions that they are getting. It's really a funny thing. I'm assuming most of you are, highly sensitive, intuitive, divine creatures. If you had to tell and describe to someone how you know what you know, how you receive the impressions you receive, for me right now, if I had to tell you exactly what happens between the channeled download and then me integrating and then speaking it to you, it's very difficult, because every reader, every sensitive creature, every intuitive has their own language with source, has their own language with the quantum field. So it's a very, very intimate thing. And so I think I think divine masculine energy is kind of like playing right now. They're like, is this real? Is this reliable? Uh can I trust this? Can I trust the wisdom that's coming through me? And with that wisdom, with that trust in what they are receiving, there's a bit of surrender. There's a bit of vulnerability coming through. Divine masculine, the theme that they have been working with forever has been vulnerability. So what I'm getting here is they are living at the crack of self. To live from the crack is to live at the edges of self, the limitations. Constantly living at the limitations means we are going to have to stretch to be able to receive. Divine masculines, applaud yourself. You are expanding while not abandoning truth or safety or sovereignty. Big message. And what's interesting too in these decks, there are some celestial cards. And what's so fascinating is the masculines receive the star and the feminines receive the sun. So the star here symbolizes this otherworldly entity or energy, this divine connection. It can symbolize community, support, ancestors, guides, connecting the dots, synthesis. Things are synthesizing for the divine masculine energy because now they have access. The doorway is open. Right? Feminine energy has been born as a portal to the divine. And so they're used to getting impressions and just living from that space without questioning. Masculine energy has been apprehensive to surrender. Okay, so there's this massive synthesizing taking place, this alchemy. In this alchemy, desires rise, sparks of truth rise, inspiration. There's a culmination of spiritual experience happening right now. And in that culmination, there is profound wisdom arriving. Oof, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I think that's it for masculines. I'm going to pull more cards for everybody, but I just want to get the basic messages out there first, so we can ground the entire cycle and feel a little bit more balanced. And then we can add more messages for the nuance, for clarity, if we need to. We'll see when we get there. Okay, divine feminines, are you ready? It's so delicious. It's so yummy. Hold on, I'm just like, if you saw me right now, I'm doing a little dance. You can't see it, but I'm I'm in like a deep squat and swaying my hips because it just feels good right now with the energy. Oh, divine feminines, you are finally coming into worthiness. You are finally in this delicious, sensual receptivity. You are accessing the strength from the throne of what it means to be supported by external reality, by the quantum field, and to allow the fertile earth to birth something for you, towards you, within and without of you. Wow. So delicious. And if you can see, I mean, so we have this strength card here, and it looks like kind of traditional tarot imagery, right? The strength card in the tarot, I think, is the card where the woman has her hands in the lion's mouth. And here we have this woman holding a lion cub or a tiger cub, some sort of big cat cub. And here we have this beautiful woman who, just look at her face. Can you see? I hope you could see it on camera, but her eyes are closed. She's receiving the rays of the sun on her skin, and she looks like she's deeply feeling herself. What a beautiful archetype, just to be in that juicy, fertile, yummy deliciousness. There is such profound worthiness anchoring in. We have this map card. Which course takes me home? What riches do I carry within? Because there's an awareness, divine feminines, that you actually have riches within. There is something so delicious rising. I don't know if you could see this here. Let me read this card. Hold on. Prairie soil. This is very interesting. I thought that's what it was. Do you see how deep these roots are, how long they are? What happens when roots are profoundly deep in that way? Usually, the deeper the root, the stronger the plant is, the stronger the grass, the stronger the tree. Isn't it fascinating that in the masculine side, we have no roots, only growth. And in the feminine side, we only have roots and no growth. Why? Because feminine growth happens within. Feminine growth happens in the underworld, right? In the shadows, in the darkness. That is how we alchemize and transmute all that is not illuminated. Ooh, I just got full body chills as I said that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, yeah, which I never read this before. This plant apparently is called a compass plant. I'm wondering if that's because this sort of flower follows the sun, maybe, which is interesting because we have the sun right here. So the sun in this deck symbolizes the external, the extroverted, the outward expressions, what is visible, what is conscious, engaging, unavoidable, right? The sun illuminates everything. Nothing can escape this illumination. It's a constant, steady, bright, intense, active, and grounded physical experience of this illumination. Feminines, beautiful. Hold on, I feel like there was more that wanted to come out about these beautiful roots. So I don't know much about it, but I do know a little bit about soil health. And many coastlines, or I don't know what it's called when it's not on a body of water, but some places on the planet, there are places where the soil is eroding faster than the vegetation can keep up with. And when these ancient grasses are harvested and excavated to the point where they no longer regrow, it deteriorates the strength of the soil. So normally all of these little micro, like look at all these tendrils that are kind of branching out. Normally all those little tendrils are like grippers in the soil, and they fortify the soil. Whether there's a landslide or a hurricane or flooding or any sort of kind of natural disaster, these roots will hold the earth together. At least they'll hold it together better than if there was nothing. And so the more the feminine can anchor in her roots, to dig in deep and cultivate the roots of her existence, of what it means to be her, the stronger she becomes, the more embodied and empowered she becomes. Full body chills at this point. I am like shivering and vibrating because this is such a powerful message. Round of applause for you, feminines. I didn't even look at the union energies yet. However, this reading feels like a massive turning point in the soulmate cycle. And it's not an accident that it feels like the masculine feminine gears are turning at the same exact time. It's not an accident. We have an evening and a daytime. We have illumination and we have darkness. We have growth and we have roots. It's just this mirroring of this beautiful symbiotic relationship. I'm getting the visual of the yin yang. Remember, there's always a bit of darkness in the light and a bit of light in the darkness. This is how we remain balanced. Okay, let's rock on to the union energies. All right, let's see what's here. I'm going to take a sip of water while I feel. Okay, so in the primary position, we have this finding card and we have the truth in the reverse. All right, the message I'm getting here is that yes, things are in motion. Yes, masculine and feminine energies are finding their way through. And there is still another precipice, another layer of truth to integrate and embody. I'm going to share these questions with you. And remember, these are for both. This is the union energy. Am I fully claiming my authority? Am I singing my soul song? What if everything is already working out? How can I know myself as absolute? What's so fascinating, not only are each of these individual questions pretty cool, but they're incredible in this order. They're incredible in how they came out, and their placement in the spread is pretty profound. So again, masculine and feminines, am I fully claiming my authority? Are you fully claiming your authority? What does that authority and power look like in your life? What were moments in your life where you felt in your power? What did it feel like? Is there something you can identify so that you'll be able to recognize it? How do you feel when you're in your power? What do you have access to when you're embodied and in your power? Are you singing your soul song? What is your flavor of divinity here? What is your flavor of life purpose that you came here to bring? What is the thing that only you can do? What is your flavor of unique divine calling that you get to bring out into the world? And what does our work look like if we are operating under this umbrella that everything is already working out? This takes some effort. This takes some presence. Because when shit is hitting the fan, when there's pain, when there's trauma, when there's clinging and rejecting, when there's all the attachment and expectations and all these dense things that often happen in the soulmate cycle, what if that too is a sign that everything is working out because things are still moving? That's a whole nother place to live from, right? That's a whole nother altitude to live from. And then we have this question, how can I know myself as absolute? This brings me back to the authority. What does your version of you, what does the sovereign version of you look, feel, taste like? What does life taste like from your most profound sovereignty? Do you even know what that means? Do you even know what is possible for your life? Are you open to entertaining those possibilities? There's something here, and reminding everyone, this is for the union energy. So this is applying to everyone. No one can escape kind of this work, right? So in the unconscious, we have this card, delight. What enchants me? What enchants me? So there is something here again for both energies that maybe you're not including self to actually, let me say it this way. Maybe you're not including self in a layer of this worthiness. There's another piece of worthiness here that's preventing you from actually allowing yourself to receive and to create a life around things that enchant you. What inspires awe and wonder? We've talked about awe and wonder many times in these readings. What is that for you? And what is preventing you from going after that? What is the, anytime we have a desire or a thought, there's usually a saboteur that rises up within us. There's a sabotaging voice that ends up interrupting the thing that we desire, the thought we have, the thought that's like, oh, maybe someday I'll do this, or a dream or a fantasy. There's always a saboteur that wants to rain on your parade and yuck your yum. Ignore that voice, shut that voice down, and allow the answer to rise from the depths. Allow the mystery to gift you with a possibility, with a quantum potential. None of this work is easy, and you all are doing it. I am so freaking proud of all of you. This is so intense and juicy and yummy. But what happens when things get really exciting? Sometimes the nerves start to activate. So that's the energy I'm getting off of this reading, that there's a little bit of a, butterflies in the stomach. I just wanted to sing the Reading Rainbow theme song right there, but I'm not going to because my voice is rough. But anyway, yeah, there's something here about like, it's so good, it's scary. There's something here that, oh my God, what if everything really is working out? Am I prepared for that? This is a fun exercise to do with yourself. Write down, or if you don't feel like writing it down, just say it out loud. Think of all the things you want to come true. What if tomorrow they did? What if tomorrow your entire life was exactly how you wanted it, filled with all the things you wanted to accomplish, all the work that you would dream of doing, all the partner you dream of, the job you dream of, whatever it looks like? What if all your dreams came true tomorrow? Are you ready to receive that? Are you ready to receive that? I said it twice because are you ready to receive that? It's not that simple, because in the thing that we want is work to overcome to get it. So all of a sudden, when you start to think about, whoa, what if all the things I dreamed of arrive tomorrow? It's scary because you haven't yet gone through the trial and tribulation that would earn that thing, that would allow you to become the person that can do that thing or receive that love or build that empire or blah, 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 fill in the blank. It's scary. Whatever shows up, whatever flavor of fear shows up when you start to think about this, write that down. That is your work. That is the core. That is the treasure in the treasure chest. Okay. The other thing in the unconscious here, we have this forgiveness card. Forgiveness on the twin flame hierogamy path is it's dense. It's a pain in the ass. It is difficult. It is the last stop on the train of alchemy, right? It's like we have to integrate what happened or what our actions were, integrate all of the information of the situation, receive it, look at it, understand what happened, understand our role, right? Take accountability and responsibility for what's showing up on our side of the street. while doing the sacred work of distinguishing and discerning what is ours and what is other, right? This is the work. And then slowly but surely, we walk the path to embodiment. What does that path look like? That path is falling down and getting back up, falling down and getting back up, falling down and getting back up. This is the path. You can't escape the work. The work is the work is the work. Forgiveness is no different. Forgiveness is that allowing yourself to struggle with forgiveness. That's the first step. Allowing yourself to say, you know what? I'm not ready to forgive. This was so painful and this was so jarring to my peace, to my life. I'm not ready to forgive. That's the first step. And then invite love, invite something higher. Be like, God, I can't possibly access forgiveness right now. I'm too pissed off. I'm too frustrated. I'm too, stuck in my own puniness, my humanness to understand these divine quantum concepts, right? There's a lesson in this, and sometimes it's not for us to integrate. That's a seed that comes from the divine, and only when you're ready to receive it and when you're ready to access that amount of profound trust and knowing and love, it breaks down what's the word I'm looking for? It breaks down that feeling of opposition, right? If we cannot forgive someone, it's inherently implied in that someone did something wrong, right? They hurt us in some way and we're struggling to forgive them. But when we can drop into heart space and work the problem out loud, it becomes a little bit easier to drop into that empathy for other, right? People can commit atrocious acts of pain, of violence, of suffering on other people. We can honor that because of their situation, upbringing, trauma, fill in the blank. We understand why they did what they did. And we can honor that while still not enabling it, while still creating sacred boundaries that we no longer want XYZ in our life or in our life right now. Honor this path, honor the falling down and getting back up. But do not turn away. Bring all the people in your life that you cannot forgive, bring them from the shadows into the light and allow the quantum field to illuminate what the heck is going on down there, right? We're bringing this. It's like if you brought the ocean floor up to the surface. Oh my God, I guarantee you'd see some pretty crazy things, right? All the creatures that are used to living in total darkness on the ocean floor are going to be like, what the heck is this sunlight? Some might even die because they're not used to that level of light or heat or altitude change or fill in the blank. There's something here about excavating your ocean floor of self, of your psyche, of your human experience, bringing it to ground level and shining it with profound sun, profound light, profound illumination, and flooding it with grace, flooding it with forgiving, right? Forgive self for not being able to forgive, right? This is such a funny thing with when you get into parts work. It's like, okay, I'm stuck on the thing that I have to do for myself, right? I'm struggling to forgive other because I'm also struggling to forgive the part of self that put myself in that position, that put myself in this relationship, that put myself in this job, whatever it is. Allow this work to come full circle. Wow. Okay. I understand now why I didn't pull a bunch of cards, because these messages were profound and dense. Let's get some twin flame cards, because why not? All right. Oop. We have crystal clear vision, awareness. That's the other thing too. When you bring the ocean floor of self up to the surface, you have crystal clear vision. You're not looking down to the depths from the surface, right? Things get distorted when you're looking through water, when you're looking through the ocean. It gets dark. Maybe there's shadows of creatures, but it's not very clear, right? Interesting. Didn't we have another rebirth card somewhere? I feel like we did. We have the rebirth card, Personal Freedom Unleashed. Again, what does sovereignty mean to you? What would the sovereign person version of yourself do? How would they live your life? How would they wake up tomorrow? What would they do in the first hour of waking up? What would that sovereign version of self do? We also have I am enough, let go of expectations, and compassion, higher heart opening. Remember what we're doing here. We're learning to access this quantum heart awakening. This is why my channel's named this way. We are honoring this process of this divine expansion so that we can access the highest and best possible interpretation of any moment at any given time. In doing this, we do not create karma for ourselves. In living this way, we don't have, we're not creating messes that we have to clean up after. And then in the unconscious, in the shadow position, we have honor your agreement, mission in motion. This is so fascinating because, again, this message continues to come up in the unconscious. There's some of you that do not believe that you are built for this mission, yet you're taking another step along the way. So there's a piece of self calling you out. What part of you thinks that you couldn't possibly be chosen for this mission? You agreed to this. You accepted ordination. You're being called to your task. You're being called to step into this profound soul mission. Wow. Okay, let's get a, I'm going to get one of these universe cards. Okay. All right, we will close on one of these. What does the, what do these beautiful, okay, we have. Okay, what do we have? What do we have? We have, I celebrate all the greatness in my life. Instead of taking on the fear of others, I reflect love. This is that discernment piece. This is getting so grounded in your core frequency that any level of chaos coming from any direction will not pull you off your center. We have, there's no such thing as a mistake. Everything happens in divine order. I am being guided to learn and grow. More roots, more growth. And then we have the difficult relationships in my life are the perfect mirror for me to look more closely at my own behavior. Oh, yep. But you already knew that, didn't you? Okay, beautiful, beautiful reading. I'm so excited to see where I might do another twin flame reading tomorrow just because I can and I want to and I'm curious. All right, sending you so much love and I will see you in the next one.